Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm bringing you another Bastion deck profile, and this time it is another build, which is the controlled build that I like to call Bastion Fortress. Let's just jump right into it. So for the right line, I'm running a different right line, which is the Tri-Connect Sorceress, just to make maybe to fool your opponent. Same skill like the others. When you go second, you draw a card when you ride on top of it. And then for the great one, I'm running Blaster Javelin, and its skill is when this unit is rode upon by Blaster Dart, reveal the top card of your deck and call it to rearguard circle as rest if it is a unit card, and if it's not a unit, you discard it. So again, kind of like the fort skill, on right skill, because if you get a unit, you just call it. If you get an order, sadly you have to discard that. For the grade 2 of the right line, I'm running Blaster Dart skill. When Blaster Dart is placed on Vanguard circle or rearguard circle, blast 1 and retire another rearguard, and then you can choose one of your opponent's rearguard and retire it, and this unit gets drive +1. So this is just trying to sack those trigger during the drive check. But yeah, again, with you, the risky part of this right line is that when you ride on top of Javelin and then when you get a non-unit, that's the downside, because you can't do Best Dark skill. You don't have the cost to, unless you set a grade 0 before to retire fodder. And lastly, for the grade 3s, again, we're playing Bastion. So yeah, like they thought you're playing Hexa, and then they thought you're playing Blaster, and then lastly you write Bastion, like, oh, what's going on here? Yeah, that's all for the right line. Moving on to the grade 3s. So for the grade 3s, like usual, all decks needs those Persona rights, so I'm running another 3 copy of Bastion. No need to explain because I already explained the video before. Next, we're running 4 Aldens because you want that raw power to get those pieces and then being a consistent attacker. Next, we're running Fossat, the best countercharge and soul charge engine, and get that resist skill, which is not getting tired or prisoned by other players. Next grade 3 is the Dark Strain, the supporter, being able to give your rearguards to boost. And then we're running 4 a Fluke to fill your soul, and as well as giving power to the rearguards to give more pressure. Next, I'm running 3 of the Reforzos because you want that free boost, free twice boost, like first boost and then restand, then boost again, to help your opponent guard more. And then I'm running 2 of the Prideful Dragon, just a pressure card, but usually I discard him because this deck is not to play the Persona right units. This deck is more to the control build, which I will show you later. And then I'm running only 1 form of Chosen Knights because I'm running other orders, which you will see later. So here's the Bastion Fortress part. I'm actually trying to run the defensive card like the orders and more of the Cocabiel, but somehow it doesn't really work, and so instead this is like a Bastion control build. So I'm running 2 copies of, I forgot his full name, but it's Bastida or Bastida. His skill is when this unit is discarded during your turn, Blast 2 and Soul Blast 1, and if you do, you can choose one of your opponent's column and return it. All the units in the column returns to the bottom of your deck. So this card is the unit version of the Downswing of Sword of Judgment, which is this order. I'm running 3. It's the same skill, but the only different cost, which is you can only play this by soul blasting a grade 3, So yeah, these two can combine together. You can destroy your opponent's field if they have a full board, like discard for the right. You can discard him for the right deck or Bastion skill, and this one only in the main phase, so you can preferably use him. But yeah, I'm only running 3. I want to run more than 3 because I already have 4 orders, so don't want to get interrupted on the right line skill. So yeah, that's all for the grade 3s. Moving on to the grade 2. Oh wait, there's no grade 2. Grade 1s. There we go. So again, with the grade 1, without me realizing, I keep only running 3 PGs. Don't get me wrong, I have 4 copies for every deck, but I don't know, I just need the extra grade 3 spot. Like usual, a PG does that thing when displaced on Guardian Circle. You choose one of your units and it cannot be hit until the end of the battle, and if your hand is 1 or less, you don't have to discard it. If your hand is 2 or more, you discard it. You discard 1. Alright. For the triggers, nothing really changed. We're running 1 over trigger. Somehow, I don't know, in this deck does really well. Like in this deck I check this card easily than the other deck. I don't know, is that sleeve problem or me shuffling? Get free 100 million to your units, and then free drive checks, basically free draw, and then running 4 crits, 4 more crits, and running for 8 crits because I'm playing Blasted Dark here, so I want to maximize the chance of twin driving 2 crits at turn 2. So yeah, that's the plan of the game. But yeah, you can run 4 fronts if you want, but yeah, in this deck I'm running 3 fronts. Since this deck already controls the opponent's board, it doesn't really make the difference, because when you remove the MVP of their decks, you can guard a little bit easy since they lost their main attacker, especially against overdress, because if you get rid of their overdressed units like the Ergar, Varinas, and the Valiente, and then lastly running 4 heals. Moving on to considered cards to be run in the deck. So since this is a fun sort of deck, you might want to consider running some other cards. So for grade 3s, you could run Witches of Snake, Solaria, and her skill is, when this unit is discarded during your turn, you can Carablast 1 and Soulblast 1 and draw a card. This is like for a budget option. You can run the Festival Collection card, Aphlion. His skill is once per turn. When you have 3 or more grade 3 units, you can Carablast 1 and this unit gets 5k. And then if you Persona Route this turn, you draw a card. So this is like a budget Alden where you can just Persona Route and then Carablast 1, draw a card. If you have 2 on field, you can draw 2, Carablast 2, and then this both gets 5k and then draw 2 card. Back then I used to play this before I have Alden. It was a good card because sometimes your opponent's damage denies you, so you can't use your Alden. So if you have him, you can just Carablast 1 and draw right away. So for the defensive grade 3s, you should consider running Cocabiel like usual, but I don't know why I didn't run her. Maybe the spot. I think it's the Bethesda and the downswing order is taking the spot. And then you might want to run Hopeful Testudo. Skill is, when you have 3 or more units, you can play this card and then give one of your unit plus 15k power until the end of the battle. So it's a 15k shield order basically. And then we have another defensive order, which is Sublime Will or Noble Will. I think they changed the name. But its skill is, if you have 3 or more grade 3 units, this one is just 3 units, and this one needs to be 3 grade 3s. And choose one of your Vanguard and it gets 20k shield. So this one is bigger shield value, but it only applies to the Vanguard, so this is kind of restricted. But this one, if you're fighting against Overlord, you can just use this and then get a 28. You can get a 28k and the opponents have a chance of not hitting. But yeah, again, these are order if you're running in the deck that might interfere with the right line again. For great ones, you might want to consider running these three. So first I have Painkiller Angel. Her skill is on rearguard circle. At the end of the battle that she boosted, Soulmass 1 and retire her, draw a card. So you boost Soulmass 1, retire her and draw a card. So it gives you space. And then next you might want to run her, Divine Sister Tartine. So her skill is when she's placed on rearguard circle, you can Soulmass 1 and rest her. Check the top 2 cards of your deck. Put one on top of the deck and one on the bottom. So yeah, it is a great one, I know, but at least you can guarantee that grade 3 that you're gonna draft check. I mean, afterwards, the next turn, at least you get a free booster. And then for the last grade 1 that I'm considering to run is Tier Square Sorceress. So her skill is not the first one, but the second one is once per turn when your draft check reveals a trigger unit, you can cast 1 and retire one of your opponent's front row rear guards. So this is a control card. You might want to run it, but yeah, again, it's a great one, so I don't want to run it. So yeah, that's all for the consider cards. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. That's all for me. Thank you for watching, and see you guys in the next video.